So one of the first things we want to do that is what I would call a power circle. And what a power circle is it's a visualization practice. You're going to imagine a circle on the floor in front of you, wherever you might be. You could be at work, you could be at a sporting event, you could be on the side stage about to take the stage for a conference or a performance or whatever it might be. The power circle is a visualization trigger, basically, which is going to trigger your neurology. It's going to trigger your physiology so that you are in a heightened performance state. Now, the way to do that is you need to think back, and you're going to take past references that you've had very empowered moments. You're going to visualize that experience, and you need to engage your soma. You need to engage your senses. You need to engage the emotion that you felt when you were in that very powerful place. Then what you want to do is get that happening in your body, and know that in this circle, imaginary circle in front of you, that's where all of this good power comes from. And that every time you step into this circle, you become empowered. It becomes a trigger to reset your physiology. So the way to do this is you visualize a very empowered experience. And then you amp up that energy. You have to manufacture some emotion when you're doing this, and you bring in all the sensory elements that you can muster. What did it smell like? Was there specific sounds in the moment? And the reason you want to do this is because the more sensory acuity you can bring into this, the more sensory elements that you can bring into this visualization, the more different wiring it does in your brain. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a physical action and a vividly imagined thought, which is one of the powerful, magical things about this exercise. So now in this circle, when you are at your highest level, you're feeling very empowered, step into the circle and embrace that feeling and associate, this is the key, associate that feeling to this particular activity and moment that you're about to embark on. So as this relates to communication, if I were to utilize this and be coaching a client who has anxiety to speak in public, and maybe they have to give a presentation at work, maybe they have to give this presentation virtually over over a digital platform, they need to get their state in order to put themselves at the best possibility for the best possible outcome of their performance. So it's a real simple process. The more you practice this, the faster it can happen. So you have this power circle, and let's say you've got to make a call, and you've got to close this call. You've got to influence the person on the other side of this phone who you're not seeing and you're not engaging with physiology and all of these things. You have to get your physiology in the right space because it's going to exude through the call. And we're going to touch on that here in a moment. First step would be to imagine that circle and know that that is your power circle. And every time you step into it, it takes you to your most optimum performance level. Then visualize what that feels like and get those feelings active and moving. Step into the circle and let it really flow into your being. Start being that empowered. And this is a visualization skill. And you step in and you just embrace that empowering feeling. You literally can manufacture emotions in this way. Once you do that, you're going to feel empowered. Then you're going to sit back and you're going to take the task at hand. So the action steps is you're going to manipulate your posture and physiology to manufacture an authentic enthusiasm. You want to accentuate the contagiousness of emotion also. So when we're in a communication, By mirroring, we all take on the other person's emotions. When we're in person, it happens really quickly. It also can happen over the phone. People move towards positive, enthusiastic people. And people feel your enthusiasm through the phone or through the video call or however it is virtually that you're communicating. Now you need to be authentically happy and excited when you're on this call. And when you do, the other person's going to feel it, and you're going to reap huge benefits just from that simple application alone. Another physical thing you can do is to mirror the enthusiasm and emotion of the person you're talking with. And if it's not as good as you want it, you can create it by manufacturing your emotion and changing your physiology. And one of the best ways to do that is to smile. Smile on the phone. And while you're doing so, then make sure you monitor and match tone and tempo. And or you can maneuver that in them by adjusting your tone and tempo. So if you're watching somebody on a video screen, you can do the same thing. Match their tonality, match their tempo. You can also match and mirror their physiology if you're on the video call. These are very powerful things. The thing is, you have to be acutely aware of how to either match up with theirs if it's a good positive one, and if it isn't a positive one, then you want to be moving them, influencing them by your changes subtly as you engage further in the communication. You know, I've had to do this, and it's tough because sometimes I come across monotone and as a lecturer, right? And I don't like that, but that's just the thinker and the teacher in me. And so when I find myself, when I'm being in that way, one of the ways I'll do it is if I think that I'm coming across that way, I'll use my smartphone and I'll hit voice recorder and I'll just talk 1 or 2 paragraphs into it. Then I'll rewind it, listen back to it, and ask myself, would I like to be listening to that delivery right now? Would I like someone talking to me with that drab tonality or that monotone tonality, or would I prefer someone that has way more enthusiasm? And depending on what I determine after listening, literally listening to myself, it's a really powerful trick. You can change that instantly to a way better outcome. Utilize that trick. Most everybody's got a smartphone and it has an app on it called voice recorder. Just use it. The next physical adjustment you want to make to create rapport is to match and mirror breathing patterns of the person that you're engaged with in your communication. Now you can say, well, I'm not standing there. Okay. If you practice, you'll be able to tune in through your hearing to their breathing patterns by the way that they're phrasing their voice, because they have to take a breath. So you can kind of get that tempo, and you can match that tempo, and you can match your breathing to theirs. It's easier if you're on video because you can obviously watch them for the chest to rise and fall, or the right? And in person, it's very powerful. So if all you do is just get those physiological things started, you will be 5-fold better at your communication, because over 55% of communication is physiology.